Yo, what up, my cheese monsters? How you doing today? So, you saw my initial impressions of 13 Reasons Why. So obviously, I really enjoyed the show for the most part. I was at the halfway mark at around 6 or 7 episodes, so now I watched the full series. It took a while. It actually took a really long time for me to finish. Just as Clay Jenson took a long ass time to finish those tapes, it took me a long time to finish the series. And there's a good reason why. This show could be binge watchable. I have heard people binge this show. But this show is not one of those shows. There's a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of nods and hints to previous episodes. So you gotta catch everything to make it work, the series work, because the people who created this show put in the effort. And also the weird part is this is also produced by Selena Gomez. Didn't see that coming.
You don't say. You don't say. You don't say.
And one other note for production wise, this was actually picked up by Universal to make a movie. And seeing that, I thought, you know what? I'm glad they did not go with the movie. The show was like at least 12 hours or 13 hours in the making. It took a long time for the series. There's a lot of paying attention to details. So obviously it's going to capture the book well, and really the added elements that the book didn't even have, for example. So really the show did the book justice, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. But enough with that. Let's actually get in why I enjoyed 13 Reasons Why. First of all, I enjoyed the main lead. So Catherine Langford, it's her first debut role as a major credit. She does her major role in a major Netflix show, I guess. So this is actually really good. She actually brought it. The emotion that you see with her, because it's not just about listening to the tapes, but really the whole story, because that's what I liked about the show. It's not just about listening to the tapes. There were excerpts of the tapes, but it wasn't just like the whole tape and then Clay Jenson listening to it, which would have been awkward if they showed what it was like for her. So it was like a reenactment, if you will, like pretty much showing us the past. So she had to carry most of this movie, because Clay, even though I enjoy Clay, he is us, the audience, figuring out what's going on. She had to carry this show. She really did. So I gotta give major props to her. She absolutely killed the role. She was emotional, sad, disturbed, disgusted. There were so many emotions conveyed by her. So you kind of understand what she's going through. And what I liked about Clay, or the guy who played Clay, who was also in the Goosebumps movie, the guy is committed. You've seen him in other shit too, like Breathe In. He actually is a great actor. He is becoming that person who is, emotionally invested in certain movies. It's really the movies that you give him. And honestly, I give him props for bringing us, the viewer, into the situation. Seriously, bringing the viewer into the situation is one of the hardest things in a series or a movie. So what he did made it relatable to us. That is awesome. He was rebellious. We wanted to be rebellious. He understood that, no, you shouldn't be more rebellious. Really, you should make choices that are not supposed to impact others, but you're not supposed to do the same thing back to someone else that got done to Hannah. So all that responsibility, we kind of feel. We understand him because he is the audience character. So honestly, that's what I enjoyed about his character. Maybe it's the way he was written, or maybe it's the way he delivered his dialogue, but the dude was fantastic. And as for the rest of the cast, they killed it as well. And honestly, I could list them for days, but honestly, they deserve their credit where credit is due. All of them did the best they could, and they delivered all the emotions that you expected. They even turned on each other. They turned on one another. They pretty much went against their characters. Like, you expect certain characters to go one direction, but they go the other way. You don't know where one character stays. Even Clay Jenson, you don't understand his character fully, and you don't even understand Hannah Baker. And that's what I gotta give props to. High school is one of those things where you don't know everyone to the exact level. You don't know them exact. Like, you don't know their personality and character until you fully get to know them. Like, seriously get to know them. There are people that I thought they literally fucked me over, but I didn't know they were going to do that. There are people who changed in an instant, from like a month to them, you know, chilling with me, literally like departed, just left me. And that's what I loved about the series. There are people who do things that you don't expect would happen, but it makes sense in a high school situation. So I gotta give the show props for doing that. The realism in the show was just amazing. It's elevated. So gotta give you props for that, doing that. And for the story, it is pretty simplistic. You think, okay, I got this, alright, she committed suicide, what happened to her? And that's what I liked. It's a slow burn. Every episode built on one another. You understand? So the first one, no big deal. Justin Foley just spread a rumor. No big deal. So yeah, you know what, Hannah Baker, why are you freaking out? And then the other one comes up, and then, you know, they're friends, they broke up. Who gives a shit? And then another one, and another one. It just kept on going. And that build up, you can't really handle it. It's like literally looking at a pressure cooker, you know, as the pressure builds, boom, it's popping. And that's what I liked about the show. The build up in this show, the suspense, it kept me on edge. It made me want to watch this show every single episode, just like that. We're living in an age where we binge watch everything. And this show, I decided to say, hey, maybe this show isn't like that, and that's what it is. It's not a binge watchable show. There are people who say Hannah Baker isn't, whoever portrayed her, like Catherine did not do a great job. I would kind of want to disagree. She did the greatest that she could. She actually delivered a great character out of Hannah Baker. Hannah Baker is a really complex character to nail down because you don't know where she stands, and really to make her relatable, that's a really tough job. But regardless, I enjoyed that aspect of bringing the build-up in every single episode. You know that she will commit suicide. It is an end result. But it's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know they're going to crash into each other, but you can't watch it. You can't bear the thought that that's gonna happen. Literally, watching her committing suicide was the worst part of the series. I'm not saying worse than like, oh my god, what is that? I'm talking about literally me unbearable. I had to pause it, go to another video, just so I can clear my head and say, did I really witness that? And then go back again. I couldn't bear the thought of me watching that thoroughly. It was really emotional. It was really disturbing, and it made me think, okay, suicide it's a serious factor. It's a serious way to go down. So if you think you're not ballsy to commit suicide, I don't know what you're talking about, because that is a crazy defeat. But really, I gotta get into spoilers now. Spoilers, because this show is really, really great. But if you want, my final thoughts of the show really didn't change from the fact that the show was great, amazing, great story, great character, great set design, and amazing actors that performed to their greatest. It is amazing, flawless even, if you would, and it deserved the 90%. So I'm gonna give you a 9 out of 10 for this. I actually up one what I thought it was going to be. It was an 8 out of 10, but now it's going to be a 9 out of 10, because this show, it is really amazing, just great, just whoa, like I did not see that coming. But even then, I expected it to be maybe a bit slower through pacing and such, but regardless, I enjoyed it. So let's get into spoilers. So spoiler warning, this show is pretty dark, emotional. It drags you into what Hannah Baker's life is. Sometimes, even her parents say sometimes she's happy, sometimes she's sad. And you know, if you say, well, that's a girl thing to do, no, even me, if I'm sometimes I'll be happy, hilarious. It's like, yeah, the world is amazing. And sometimes I'll be like, what the fuck am I doing right now? Kind of like what I'm doing on YouTube right now. I always question myself, why am I on YouTube? What's the point of all this? I might as well just give up, right? But that's the point. It's really our brains, like an adolescent brain. It's always going to be turning, always going to be switching between being good and being bad, being happy, being sad, and that's a great element to add to the show. But really, talking about spoilers, like deep spoilers, the characters really do something different than other high school movies like The Duff or even Edge of 17. You expect characters to be that stereotype. Okay, you know what? She's good. There's one character, and I would explain to you, that is Christina. Christina is this girl that, Hannah befriends, and it's, you know she's great because she has met Clay, like in the present times. So she seems like a nice girl. She's giving memorial flowers. But then she's one of the reasons why. So you expect, what? Why? Well, she spread a rumor, and that's one of the reasons. So at that point, you realize she is cold. She is destructive. I can't believe that a person that looks so innocent would do such a thing. Even Clay brings her to a graveyard, and the one thing she says that really blew my mind, it blew Clay's mind at the instant, but that was exactly what I was thinking. She said, "Oh, this place looks really nice. It's a freaking graveyard. What are you talking about? It's gonna be sad. It's gonna be cold." You wouldn't say it's like almost like it's so disturbing to see her coldness just come out in the open like that. Her seeing a graveyard is amazing. It's kind of contradictory to what a graveyard actually looks like. It's dark, it's scary, it's really a sad place of mourning, and really her saying that's good, that pretty much shows what her character is all about, and that's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird at times, and Clay calls her out on this. So I'm great to Clay. That's when you know Clay is the audience telling us. And I like the comedy as in this as well. There's a bunch of comedic timing that works, and I just think, yeah, that is hilarious. That's amazing. They went that far. They even swear a lot in the show. If they swear a lot in the show, that makes it more realistic because that's what normal teenagers do. And I love the fact that they do meet up. Like all the people who were affected by this, they all meet up. Like, what do we do about Clay? What do we do about Clay? What the fuck do we do? And that mentality, that idea is just cold and dark, but those are what the characters are. They always say, well, it's not my fault. It is not. I didn't do this. This is all fake. It's stupid. Okay? Hannah was lying and all that shit. But then you see them meeting up and you realize they weren't lying. I mean, she wasn't lying. Hannah wasn't lying. It was the characters. They were dicks. They understand that Clay has the power because they listened to his tape. So they understand this guy's the only nicest one. Besides maybe one more, but she wasn't really a main factor, and that's Sherry. Sherry, honestly, I thought, you know what, when Clay got on with Sherry, I thought, you know what, this is kind of an awkward phase and weird. Not because they were making out. It's because, it's after a death and, what happened to Clay. It's kind of a weird situation for me, but regardless, I'm still rooting for her. And Sherry even confesses to the cops. So it's not like it's her fault. She never really goes with the group. So you understand some of these characters, some of these people aren't really dicks. Sure, they have messed up in the past. They acknowledge what they have done, and they go through with the promise. They said, you know what, I'm gonna confess to the cops, and that's what I enjoyed. Clay has a friend in the past, and he died too, and people think it's a DUI, and even me, I thought, oh, that's a DUI, that's sad. He was even pissed at the friend. He thought, you know what, like, why would he drink? He said he didn't drink, but he never drank. It was really, Sherry ran over a stoplight, and that's because of why, he died. He got killed and got into a car crash, and that's the reason why. And it wasn't because he was drunk. And Clay is so sad and so destroyed about judging him like that. That is what I enjoyed. That's the great part of this series. People come to terms with their reality, what is going on with their lives and how to confront it. And Clay has a hard time listening to Hannah, confronting her. And it's great when they get to his tape. This is the most important part of the series. It nearly destroyed me. It was actually even worse than the suicide, because it showed that Hannah had hope. All the other tapes show that Hannah was getting destroyed, but that one tape with Clay killed me, because that was a tape where I felt like Hannah was complete. They could have went in a different direction where Clay, Hannah, they hooked up, their girlfriend and boyfriend, and then that was the reason why, because Clay is a douchebag. But they went the route where Clay and Hannah could have been happy together. Clay Clay needed Hannah and Hannah needed Clay. And if Hannah had Clay, her life would be amazing. Nothing else would matter besides their love. And that is heartbreaking. It's a tragedy. We all relate to tragedies, but it is so sad. It's so hard to see that, you know, it could have been the end for Hannah. Hannah could have lived that life. She didn't have to commit suicide. But in the end, I'm glad that she said, I wish to got to know you. I wish I got out. I was with you throughout the end, and I wish I got to know you a bit more. And I thought you were truly a great person. He is one of the reasons, and I'm glad he himself comes to terms with that. But he's not the main reason, obviously. It's because Hannah, and there's two. I understand both sides. Hannah really has these visions, or I guess memories, of other guys fucking her over, you know, spreading rumors and such. So she is having doubts with Clay. And when Hannah says, don't, like, leave, just get out of here, Clay has to abide. And I honor him for that, and I really understand him. But, like, you know, you understand that she didn't want you to go work, even though she said it did. It's a complicated situation, but one choice could make that difference, and that's to say with all the episodes. One choice could make that difference. One incident could make that difference. There's one character, Alex, and he is shown that he killed himself. And I know this is a bit of a stretch and a bit of a theory, I believe, but you've seen that he is a bit of a destructive person. After the incident, after Hannah killing herself, committing suicide, he is a bit on edge. He is saddened by the incident. He's destroyed. He understands why he was one of the reasons, and he wants to commit suicide. And really, other issues is that other people made fun of him. Other people did not, you know, have the belief. They pretty much, like, they hurt him. They made him suicide prone. No one supported him. And that issue alone was sad. People, when he was beating up one of, like, the jocks, or I guess the jock, and people just stood around and just looked at the beat up. Honestly, I wouldn't go in there because I'm sad, but I would at least call someone, or at least be like, oh my god, what's going on? At least. Minimum, because honestly, I don't want to get involved in that shit. I don't have muscle. But regardless of that fact, I would be a little bit scared. And really, knowing that Alex doesn't have anyone and just a bunch of bystanders just looking, that is really for suicide prone. And I understand why Alex would kill himself. That's a great element to add to the show. As an audience member, we don't really see those details. And we'll be focusing on Hannah Baker. We wouldn't focus on Alex and what he's doing. We see him as a destructive force. We don't understand why. We don't understand his elements until the end of episode 13. And that's when you realize we have missed it. If we saw him, we could have saved him. And for you guys who kind of saw him, I commend you for that. But other people like myself, it's kind of sad. It's kind of destructive. But I like how the series ended. The ending is obviously important for any series, regardless if they're in season 1 or the end of their seasons of the show. This is important, and really it's him meeting Sky. Sky is the one character, and that one edge that I thought they could have added, maybe make it a 10 out of 10 for me. They never really discussed her situation. I'm glad they really highlighted Hannah, but they never highlighted Sky in her situation. It felt like she was bullied, she was destroyed inside. She did self-harm to herself, and other things that maybe made her hurt inside. So I'm glad Clay realized that and understood, yes, this girl's hurting, I need to help her before she gets hurt. And then they drive off into sunset. That's a great ending. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I thought maybe if Sky had more screen time, Sky had more story, it would have made a bigger impact. It would have showed how Clay was from this person who's naive and was a bystander, not a bad thing because he wasn't a dick, turns into this person who's observative, and this guy who realizes the mistake he's done and really tries to salvage and fix the situation. And that's what I enjoy. There was another element that I kind of didn't like, was the parents. I understand the parents have to deal with the situation, but they got some screen time, but I felt like they never fit in the situation. That doesn't mean Hannah's it's not just about Hannah's parents, all the parents. There's one parent that really pissed me off, and honestly it cheesed me a lot, and that's one of the jocks' mother. So the story goes, Clay keyed this guy's car saying why me. It's an interesting episode. Honestly, I thought, you know what, that's a great way to introduce how Hannah may not be telling the truth, because at the end the guy gives in a note saying I didn't crumple it up. So that's a great element, because even he had a crush, and he was kind of like the Hannah Baker in that situation where he was lonely, people made fun of him, people called him stupid, and he was isolated. So that's a great element to add. But leaving that fact, the mother is such a snob and dick. Like, I am thinking, look, I have dealt with these mothers. I have seen mothers like this who are snobbish, dickish, who are egotistic about having the best son, having the best life. And that point, I realized that that's one of the downsides. They made that character alone was like so dickish, so snobbish, like in a cartoon villain. If you've seen the series, you understand. She's not cringy per se, but she does do a lot to the series. She does really impact the series by a lot, and that's what I have to dock down. But regardless, I enjoyed the series. It's a great series for character, then understanding the struggles of committing suicide, and understanding the struggles of living with bullying and cyberbullying and such, and really understanding 13 Reasons Why, a great title by the way, really shows that every instance, every moment, every choice that we make impacts someone else, and that's a great element to add to anything really, and all their choices have that impact. It's great to see that that's the show. That's what the show is all about. And some reasons are very small. They're really minimal. Like, for example, Sherry's. But others are hugely impacted, and I love how nothing else is in bias. Like all douchebags are like this, all douchebags are like that. No, we got some other ones. They got some innocent ones. We got the Courtneys, we got the Sherrys, we got maybe even the Clays. So honestly, I gotta commend that, and I understand that there's so much else to talk about. So as always, I want you to let me know what's your favorite part of the show, maybe the worst part of the show. Anything below, comment down below, let me know. I know I can't talk about everything. This is literally a lot to talk about, and honestly I can list them right now. The relationships between Jessica and Alex, the relationship between Justin and Alex, relationship between the main jock, totally forgot his name. The point is, there's so many characters to actually keep track of. One of the reasons why I kind of hated it too, because I understand 13 characters, but there are other characters in the mix that were mentioned but not really shown. Other characters like a stalker and his issue, and that alone really shows that this story is not just a movie review or movie review where you can say, okay, I understand where it's going. It's a complex story. There's a lot of structures and a lot of ideas that are free flowing into this story, so you don't know where it's going to end. You don't know where it's going to start. So honestly, it's really hard to just miss details, and that's what I am not binge watching shows lately. I used to binge watch shows, and this is my problem with binge watching. I used to binge watch Daredevil, I binge watch Jessica Jones, all the Marvel shows, but then when I look back, I look at Chris Stuckman reviews, I'm like, I missed that. Or I look at Jeremy Johns, I missed that. Where was that? I realized that when I went back, I missed a whole lot more, and that's what made the show better. The small, minute details. And I recommend you guys at least go through the minute details and see, hey, this is how the show is supposed to be like, because those minute details that directors put in or screenwriters put in, those matter. That's what writing is all about. Those minute details do make the difference regardless of the major plot. And that's what I gotta give this show. This show does a lot to suck you into the universe. This is so good. This is like The Thinning, 12 Deadly Days, and other shows just combined. Just amazing, and that's what I gotta give. So as always, I'll let you know what's hot and what is not with movies, TV shows, and trailers. So as always, subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, hit that notification button, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Maybe sometime I might not do something so scary and sad and somber like this. You know, we gotta go a little bit, on the lighter side. So as always, I'll see you guys.